We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Hello and welcome to High School Famous. I don't know why I'm doing it like stupidly every time now.
You're just trying to, I don't know, I guess.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You feel silly?
I feel, yeah.
It feels silly and like presentational to be delivering a intro. You know what I mean? Hello and welcome to this week's edition of High School Famous.
I think it's weird.
Podcasts.
Yeah, I think it's weird because we like talk for a couple minutes before we start recording. And then it's like, all right, well, we're starting it. And then, it feels like
here we go.
Yeah, it feels like it feels way more generic at that point. Anyways.
I think everybody I bet you everybody that records a podcast just BS's for a few minutes before they actually start. So.
Right.
Hey, welcome to this week's edition of High School Famous, the podcast that Matt and I do. I'm Sean.
I'm Matt.
All right.
There you go.
So the first thing I want to do before we get into anything, Matt, is I want to clear up something about last episode. Remember how I said that I had some issue with Back to the Future 3
right.
that involved Clara and the cliff and the ravine and all that stuff.
Yes.
So I was wrong because what I said last week was that I thought it was that she was heading toward the ravine and about to fall in because of something they were doing.
Right.
And that's not the case. I just rewatched the scene before we started. She was heading toward the ravine because a snake had spooked her horses and they started running.
Okay.
They happened to be there to see her heading toward the ravine and were there to save her. But, so that's all fine. The issue I have is in Doc's letter to Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Doc mentions his beloved Clara, which means they had met before Marty ever showed up.
Okay.
But the only reason that they met was Marty showed up and they were out at the railroad tracks looking over where the bridge ends and stuff because that's where they were going to push the DeLorean on those tracks to get it up to 88 miles per hour to get Marty back into 1985. So, I mean, there's a chance that Doc could have just been out there and met Clara,
right? If
Marty wasn't there, but by all rules of the movie, she had passed away, and the ravine was named Clayton Ravine, and therefore Doc, unless he was out there for some other reason, would never have met Clara in the first place because she would have died before she even got to town.
Right.
The reason Doc was out there to see her go toward the cliff at all was because Marty showed up to get him, but he mentioned her in the letter that he sent to Marty before Marty ever went back to 1885. Right? Another thing I noticed when I watched it at the beginning was we were talking about how if a past version of something happens to them, the present version immediately has that memory in their mind of that happening, right? So 1955 Doc picked out the Western-looking outfit for Marty to wear when he shows up in 1885.
Right.
The 1885 Doc goes, "Who dressed you in that ridiculous outfit?" And Marty says, "You did."
Right.
But if you follow the time, he would have already known that he dressed him because it would have been his past self that dressed him. Anyway, also, one more thing. Doc, this was another thing that was one of your points where they have a time machine, but they're always showing up where there's not much time to spare or they're running late or this and that. Doc, according to his letter, Doc was in 1885 for 8 months by the time he wrote the letter to send to Marty.
Okay.
Marty decides to go back in time just under a week before he gets shot.
Right.
So they have so little time to get themselves out of 1885. But also, going beyond that, they could have just done something to avoid Doc getting shot by Biff.
Right.
Or by Mad Dog Tannen, right?
Right.
Because in a way, him interacting with Mad Dog and getting shot by Mad Dog could potentially have screwed up the future anyway, because he shouldn't have been in 1885 in the first place. So anyway, he knew he was going to get shot. They could have done something to prevent him from dying or to avoid getting shot. Marty could have showed up any earlier to give them more time to get this all figured out. And the only reason that Doc met Clara in the first place was because Marty went back in time to get him, so he couldn't have mentioned Clara in the letter to Marty in 1955.
Well, there you go. There you have it. This was part 2 of our Back to the Future.
We'll call it the PS. We'll call it the post-credit scene, if you will.
We'll call it and another thing.
And yeah. So I should get my timer. So I didn't know what to do today, so I thought I'd look up some things that might be entertaining, which are worst game show fails.
Okay.
But
I might know a lot of these.
You might, but some of these I'm realizing they maybe aren't that funny just to talk about. So I thought I had an idea that's Family Feud specific, but I'll cover some of the other ones before we get into that.
Okay.
So the first one was it's a woman on Wheel of Fortune, and I'll tell you what's on the board. It's a 5-word puzzle. Okay. The category is things, and the first word is blank. TAR blank. Second word is fully revealed is IN, so in. Third word is fully revealed, the TAG. Last word is fully revealed, or no, I'm sorry, it's a 6-word puzzle. Fifth word is fully revealed, NIGHT, and the last word, there's no letters revealed, and it's 3 letters. So if you're able to keep track of all that.
So nothing on the 4th word was revealed either?
Oh, the 4th word, I misspoke, I'm sorry. So let me start over.
Okay.
It's a 5-word puzzle.
It is a 5-word puzzle.
Yes. So okay. 5-word puzzle. First word, blank, TAR blank. Second word, the word in, fully revealed. Third word is the word the, fully revealed. Fourth word is night, NIGHT, fully revealed. Last word is the 5th word. It's 3 letters, and no letters are revealed. So we already know that A was guessed from the first word, TAR blank. So we know that A cannot be a letter in the last word.
Right.
Correct?
Yep.
So what would you think this puzzle is if you were to try to solve it right now?
Stars in the night sky.
Correct. This woman decided to guess start in the right way. Now,
right? Even though the whole word night is already there.
The whole word night is on the board. She guessed start in the right way. The caption on that one said, and when you just hope that the board spelled it wrong, like you're just hoping that was the issue. This was a little bit funny. The next one was a woman is asked to name. So this is a Family Feud thing, but I didn't get into any more of it. A woman is asked to name something that doctors routinely pull out of patients.
Okay.
What do you think her guess was?
I don't think I'm gonna even get remotely close to her guess. I'm trying to think of what my guess would be. Something that doctors routinely pull out of patients.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going, I would think. Would you think dentist in that sense? Because then you'd say like a tooth. But if you're thinking not dentist, because dentists are technically doctors.
Yep.
Routinely pull out of patients. So I'm trying to think of like something that gets surgically removed, but could even be different than that.
Yeah.
Because
now let's,
now
this isn't something that this is Family Feud. So this is survey answers, right? So you're not going to have a definitive right and wrong answer. It's just what the most people said. But what is the cliche joke answer that you would think when you say, he pulled this out of me?
I don't even know what the cliche joke answer to that would be.
Oh, she guessed gerbils.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Moving on.
I'm assuming it wasn't. I'm assuming that didn't make the board.
This video, I forget if this was a video clip or if it was just describing what happened, but either way, they didn't get into what the real answers were or what the most popular answers were. So this is a woman on the Newlywed Game. So this is in the 70s, it looked like. She was asked, this is where you could clearly tell she didn't know what the words in the question meant.
Right.
Woman in the Newlywed Game was asked, would your husband say he is more urban or rural?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman said, I don't know what they mean. And then the host says, well, you married him, so what do you think he said, or he would say? And she said, heck, he's urban. And then the host could kind of tell that she didn't know what she was talking about. So he said, oh, he's urban. How long has he been that way? And she said, about 2 months. And then the host said, do you think there's anything he could do about it? And then she said, well, he went to see a doctor. And then the host was like, oh, we did. And then the whole crowd just was laughing at her. And she looked like she didn't even know that she was being laughed at.
Right. She's like, they're laughing with me.
Yeah.
Not at me. He went to a doctor for his urban.
Yeah, I guess we can. All right, I'll just read off the other ones and then we'll get into the Family Feud part.
Okay.
This is another Wheel of Fortune one. This is a bummer because it's a pronunciation problem. So you don't have to write anything down because he guessed every letter on the puzzle.
Right.
He just mispronounced the puzzle. I don't think it's the one you're thinking of because there's a famous one, I think.
The one I'm thinking of right now is he was supposed to say something about Achilles, and he pronounces it Achilles. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Achilles is what he said.
Achilles, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy got a London. He got one of the spaces on the wheel that was for a London trip. He got one of the spaces on the wheel that was for $1 million, and then he also had like over $4,000 just in his bank.
Yeah.
And then the entire puzzle's revealed, and he guessed that it's the mythological hero Achilles instead of Achilles. And then he got it wrong, and then the next woman just solved the puzzle and got it right.
Right.
So he lost out on. I think you have to win the whole game to get those big prizes, right? On Wheel of Fortune?
I think with the like trips and stuff, you get those if you get that board. The $1 million one.
If you solve that puzzle.
The $1 million is you get to keep that token if you win the puzzle. And then at the end of the game, if you win the overall game and go to the final puzzle, then you have a chance to win the $1 million at that point.
Okay.
I think then they put like the $1 million one like in that thing they spin that he could potentially pull at that point. Otherwise, I think it's left out.
Now the other one that I thought you would have heard of was another $1 million situation, and I if it's the way you're describing it, then him just solving one of the regular puzzles wouldn't have won him the $1 million.
Yes,
but I feel like they made a big deal about this video or this instance because maybe he was in line to win the $1 million.
Okay.
But anyway, the answer was like a corner curio cabinet. And that's kind of a tricky thing to say. And he said corno curio cabinet. And they didn't give it to him, obviously.
Yeah.
So there was a who wants to be a millionaire thing where this was the guy's first question.
Okay.
And the question was, which of these is a common phrase for saying, I can't take it anymore? A was, that's the last stick. B was, that's the last leaf. C was, that's the last straw. And D was, I'm moving to Canada. He guessed A, that's the last stick. And then, so he just got eliminated after the first question and won $0.
That's the last stick.
Yeah. One man was on The Price is Right, and it was a game called Flip or Flop. Are you familiar with that game? The price.
Possibly.
He's got two different price. He's got two different panels.
Okay.
One is with the first. The one is with the first two numbers of the price, and one's the last two numbers of the price. So it's like $1,000 something.
And he has to pick which like is correct. The first two numbers or the last two numbers.
No, not quite. So the number that was shown was like 4652, for example. So he had a choice of keeping it at. He knows that 4652 is not correct, so he has a choice of either flipping the first two numbers to make it 6452.
Okay.
Or he can make the last two numbers flip or flop, they call that one, to make it 4625.
Okay.
Or he could flip and flop, which means it would make it 6425.
Gotcha.
And he went up and he was gesturing to the audience, this one, and they're like, no. And then he goes to the second set of numbers and they're like, this one. And and they're like, yay, do that one. And then he must have got confused because instead of flipping or flopping or maybe saying, I want to flip or flop this one, he just pressed the button that Bob presses to reveal the real price.
Oh, God.
And Bob was joking around and calling him a cheater and like, I'm going to get off the stage with this troublemaker. But he said, I think the only thing to do here is just to give you the prize. So he got the prize anyway, even though he just cheated.
Well, in that case, Bob, I would just go up there and start just, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do that. Now I just win it, right?
So the next thing I thought, the rest of these are Family Feud, Fast Money failures, where the first person goes and basically gets it a lot of points, where you almost It's almost impossible not to win.
And then the second person just completely blows it.
Basically. But I thought a fun way to do it would be to time you.
Oh boy.
And I'll ask you the questions that are asked on the show, and then I'll buzz you if you repeat the first answer.
Okay.
Now, the only thing about this is we can't really quantify how well you do because we don't have the survey the results.
Yeah. So I'm like, how's this going to work?
we could just see what your guesses are and compare them to maybe the contestants' guesses.
The ones that did bad.
Yeah. So I know that on the second round of Fast Money, the timer is 25 seconds.
Okay.
So, as per Family Feud rules, the time will start once I finish reading the first question.
All right.
So in this example, you would only need to get 18 points because the first person got 182 out of 200 possible points.
Okay.
Not possible, but 200 points needed to win.
Right.
Okay. 100 single. I'll try to speak as clearly as I can. 100 single men were asked, what chance do you have at dating a woman who is a 10?
40%.
Okay. Name a kind of place people keep checking their watch.
Pass.
Name a noisy insect.
A mosquito.
Name something a person's belly does.
Gargles or rumbles?
But time. I'll give you a chance to answer that, but time ran out.
Pass.
Okay, so time ran out.
Well, see, here's the problem: is we also have a delay when we.
Oh, sure. Okay, how about I'll do 35 seconds next time.
All right. I think of a reason to constantly check your watch.
So pass, and then I didn't even get to the last question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm bad at fast money, apparently.
Well, there would be a delay between you and Steve Harvey in real time if you were on the show. So we can go with that. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. Okay, so you actually named the same answer that the second person did on the first question, whereas what chance do you have out of dating someone who's a 10?
Yeah.
They said 4, which is like out of 10, 4%, so 40%. So that got 0 for the survey.
Well, I would have gotten buzzed on that one. You didn't buzz me.
No.
Oh, I answered the same as the. Okay, gotcha.
The second person.
Okay.
Yeah, the first person said 5. So think about this. The first person said 5, and the survey said 31 points for that. So 31 people said 5, but 0 said 4.
Right.
Don't you think that's a little unusual? You passed on the second one, but the first answer for name a kind of place people keep checking their watch, the person said airport.
Okay.
And that was 18. And to give the person to give her some credit, she also said airport on the second turn.
Okay.
But then they buzzed her, so she said a restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the restaurant got 0. Name a noisy insect. The first person said cricket, and that got a 38. The second person passed. You said mosquitoes, so that's way better.
Yeah.
Right?
And if mosquito would have buzzed me, I would have said fly.
I like your wording there.
What? Oh, if mosquito would have buzzed me.
Insects.
Yeah,
and
okay.
if a mosquito would have buzzed you.
Yep.
I would only argue that a mosquito is noisy only if it's flying right by your ear, though.
Yeah.
I would. So
then cicada.
I'm sorry, cricket. Cricket's obvious because that's all the chirping or whatever. But yeah, cicada, I would have thought to say.
Yeah.
I suppose I can't say that because I'm not doing it.
Right. But I don't know. I feel like cicadas are also more. Are those more regional?
They might be regional.
I'd have to check. I don't know the migration patterns of cicadas, but
don't grasshoppers make noises with their back legs too? Like they rub their back legs against their body and it makes a weird sound. Isn't that something grasshoppers do?
Or I don't know.
I think it is. But they're in a similar family to maybe not cicadas, but I think they're in a similar family to locusts, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Name something a person's belly does. I buzzed you because you said rumbles or something.
Mm-hmm.
The first person answered growls, and they got 42 points. The second person said throws up.
I guess my secondary thought right now was just digests.
Yeah, that's a funny question. Like, what's a person's belly do?
Yeah.
I mean, if growl or rumble or something like that when you're hungry has to be the first thought.
Or
what do you think of after that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I was like, pass, because I just didn't know where to go from there.
I mean, yeah, this person, they were guessing some of the obvious answers that the first person guessed.
Right.
So you can't be too hard on them. So the third question that we didn't even, the fifth question that we didn't even get to was, a married couple might be deeply in what? The obvious answer you think would be love. So the first person said love, and they got 53 points. The second person said marriage.
My second response was that popped in my head was debt.
Debt. Right. I thought the same thing. But a
they
married
are deeply
couple
in
might
marriage,
be
though.
Deeply in marriage. So,
I mean, you can't get much more deeply in anything at that point when you're married.
I think that you probably I would say you fared better than the person on the show.
I want to assume that I would have gotten at least 18 points with mosquito.
Yeah.
Even though all my other answers were nothing. So
this person needed to get 18 points and they got 0 points because
That's bad.
Either because of poor guesses or a pass on one of the questions.
Yeah. Well, I obviously did not do well.
All right. So
I got mosquito.
I'm going to do you. Yeah. So
finish that sentence, please.
30. I'm going to do you a favor.
There you go.
And we'll do 35 seconds this time because of some delay you're claiming. Okay. As usual, if you answer the same answer as the first turn, you'll be buzzed. And since the second round is more difficult, you'll give extra time. And
since this isn't official, you give me even more time.
And then, speaking of Back to the Future and always not giving yourself enough time, the time will start when I'm finished reading the first question.
Part of me wants to just give joke answers.
No, this one, I could tell it was not. I know it wasn't the American Family Feud. I couldn't quite tell if it was Australia or maybe New Zealand. It had that type of an accent, but I know they're different. But I could. So, what would you do if your teenager was out super late?
Call them.
Name something you associate with the word surprise.
A party.
Can you be more specific?
Birthday party. Surprise party. That's such a shit answer.
What?
I'm mad at myself.
What sport is the toughest on the human body?
Rugby. I'm out of time, too,
what is an insect you associate with summer?
A mosquito. I'm going to give a mosquito answer every time. Let's just not give a shit about the time. I'll just answer as quickly as I can.
Oh yeah, super late. Oh, you know what? I skipped the second question. My bad. So
good. I get more time.
I think for you, maybe I just need to ignore the time.
Yeah, I don't think the time matters. I'll just answer as quickly as I can.
Okay, so you said call for the first question. You said surprise. And you said rugby.
I'm so mad about the surprise party.
A surprise party. You said mosquito. Don't feel bad because the answer the person gave is coming up.
Okay.
A bug or an insect you associate with summer. You said mosquito. Yeah. So the second question, which I skipped just because I lost where I was, name something you might use as a bookmark.
Just a piece of paper.
Paper. Okay.
A bookmark would be probably a bookmark. Would that work? Something you would use as a bookmark and just say a bookmark.
Well, so hold on. Okay. We'll get to that. So
seems like the most logical
answer. The first person got 34. Okay, so this person got a total of 112 points. So it's not like you're guaranteed. It's not so close. It's so. What would you do if your teenager was out super late? They said ground them.
Okay.
And that was 34 points. The second person said ground them, but then they got buzzed. So then they just passed.
Okay. Call them was a decent answer.
Name something you might use as a bookmark. The first person said bookmark.
Okay.
But that only got 10 points.
Because I'm sure most people were like, oh, other than, which was kind of where I was like.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. The second person said pencil.
Who puts a pencil in a book? You're ruining the book.
But even the people we surveyed, no one puts a pencil in their book because that got 0 points.
A piece of paper is a better. All right.
This is you're gonna feel better about your surprise party.
I'm so upset about surprise party.
To me, that makes a lot of sense. Name something you associate with the word surprise. The first person answered birthday party, which you said birthday party, and then you changed it to surprise party. So birthday party got 49. So that's huge.
Okay.
This person's answer was surprise wedding.
How? Hold on. How does that work?
I know.
How do you?
So he said, and
okay.
So the audience kind of chuckled when he gave that answer, and then of course there's the end of the round where the host says he goes through all the answers and he shows the points. When they got to that one, the guy who gave that answer said, "Oh, it's a big thing. Like it's big. Everyone does. Like it happens a lot."
No, it doesn't.
He tried to justify it.
No, it doesn't. There's no such thing as a surprise wedding.
Clearly not, because that got him 0 points.
Right. Like the person.
Yeah.
So like I'm just imagining this guy just plans all this stuff, gets everything together, like picks out a dress for the woman to wear and everything, and then just says, "Hey, meet me at this chapel," for no reason.
I mean,
surprise, we're getting married today.
If you're okay,
I know, probably not at a chapel.
Yeah, probably not at a chapel. And I'm wondering how far does the surprise go? Like, has he met this person before?
Right.
You know,
I'm assuming they at least know each other, and they're at least probably dating. I would hope they're at least dating. But it's like, instead of doing like a surprise engagement, which makes a lot of sense, to plan some kind of extravagant engagement type thing, instead of just like, I'm going to bypass the engagement altogether, and we're just gonna
that would be
surprise wedding. I mean, I've heard of a shotgun wedding.
Right. You said you wanted to get married someday.
Right. How about today?
How about now? Okay. Let's see. What's the sport that's toughest on the human body? The first answer was football, and that was a 19-point answer.
Mm-hmm.
The second person, to their credit, they also said football. That got buzzed. So then they changed it to soccer. And I thought that since it was Australian or not an American version of the game, I thought that football was referring to soccer.
That's what I would have assumed in that sense too.
So I don't know if it was. They didn't clarify that that I saw, but he got 0 points for soccer. I would very much argue that rugby is a much better answer than soccer, and possibly even football, because they wear padding and helmets in football, in American football.
Right.
But rugby, they wear nothing that protective other than their clothes, right?
Right. As far as I know,
they wear like maybe shin guards or something sometimes, maybe. But
I'm not super well versed in rugby, but yeah.
I would venture to say that rugby is worse on your body.
Yeah, or even hockey.
Hockey too, right?
Hockey. They
checking into the boards and that kind of stuff. I mean, a soccer, you get the occasional like a slide tackle or something, but I think ultimately you're pretty spaced far away from every other player for the most part. It's not a contact sport. All right, what insect do you associate with summer? You said mosquito. The first answer was ants, which also got 0 points. And the second answer was ladybugs, and that got 0 points. And the host was like laughing at them at the time when they said ladybugs. But they're not the most obvious answer maybe, but basically all bugs are out in the summer. There's no bug that's out in the winter, and I don't think there's any bug that's spring or fall specific.
Right.
I mean, any bug could be a legitimate answer for a bug that you associate with summer.
And if this was an Australian version of the show, they could have named some crazy-ass bug nobody's ever heard of.
I know. Well, no one in America, maybe. Right. I bet you in Australia they would have heard of those bugs.
Yeah, but apparently,
especially to name one, especially to name a bug no one's heard of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just mix them up. Australians do that all the time. They make crap up to screw with tourists all the time. So
yeah, that's true. Like what are they? The dropping bears or whatever.
Yeah, drop bears.
Drop bears. That's what it is. Okay. Next set. I've got two more of these things.
Okay.
This one's really it's not this one. This question's like kind of a how would you describe your own situation? So it's not like
okay.
So after God made man, he then improved. Oh no, sorry, that's the next set. Okay, after God made man, he then improved the design by giving women a better what?
That's just what the fuck? How do you answer that?
After God made man, he then improved the design by giving women a better what?
I don't even know. I would immediately skip that. Yep.
We'll say pass. How tall would a wave have to be before a surfer calls it gnarly?
I don't know, 10 feet?
10 feet.
Okay, 9 feet.
9 feet. Tell me the best thing about Christmas.
Jesus Christ. I would be so shitty on Family Feud. I'm just realizing this right now. This is not my answer.
I wrote Jesus Christ just in case. I mean, it fits.
And you know what? Screw it. Let's go with it.
All right.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, this one overall, I guess, isn't that funny, but name a white ball.
A white ball?
White ball.
A golf ball.
Name an animal that kicks up his heels.
Animal that kicks up its heels? Like a dog, I guess. I don't know. Like when they're like, I don't know. What the hell does that mean?
All right. That's it. That's it. The end of the survey.
Does it also tip its top hat? Like, what the fuck does that what does it mean? It kicks up its heels.
It doesn't say click its heels or it kicks up its heels. Kicks up his heels.
Okay. I'm assuming like a dog when it's like does that like thing where it kicks its legs back after it like goes to the bathroom.
After it goes to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Do you want to crack at the first question again?
That
about
question is so weird.
Improving God's design? The first two people had answers for this.
Was this American Family Feud?
Yeah, this was Steve Harvey.
So he improved on the design by giving women a better... No, I honestly, I have nothing for that.
All right. Well, you did worse than the first. Yeah, I'm not the second person on this on that question in the show.
I am not helping make this episode very entertaining right now.
So this one's a little heartbreaking because the first person got 187 points.
So they needed what? 13 points.
The second person needed 13 points to win. So the first question. After God made man, he then improved the design by giving women a better what? The first person said mentality.
Okay.
And that got 48 points. That was the highest answer. Now, when Steve Harvey read it, he said brains. So like, smarts, mentality, brains.
Okay.
All kind of lumped together as the best answer. The second person said attitude, gave women a better attitude.
Okay.
That actually got him 2 points.
All right.
So two people in the 100-person survey said attitude for that question.
Interesting.
Tell me the best thing. How tall would a wave have to be before a surfer calls it gnarly? The first person said 10 feet, and that's what you said at first. So they got 24 points. The second person said 12 feet, and then only got 3 points.
That was where I almost went.
Yeah, so you said 9 feet. Obviously, we're not going to know what the survey would have said to that, but I would say that's close enough to 10 feet. And if 10 feet got 24 points, I could see 9 feet getting, 10 points or something like that. So this person has 5 points so far.
Okay.
And so they need 13 total. So they're 8 points away.
All right.
So they have three questions to get 8 points. This is in the bag.
You'd think. Yep.
They got that $20,000. The funny thing is the answers aren't even that ridiculous. It's just kind of sad. Tell me the best thing about Christmas. The first person said presents, and that got them 23 points. The second person at first also said presents, so they got buzzed. And then they said Santa Claus.
Okay.
Which you think, sure.
Yeah, that's a terrible answer.
0 points for Santa Claus.
I wonder how much Jesus Christ would have gotten.
I know. I'm so glad that you said that out of frustration. Name a white ball. First person said softball.
I almost said baseball.
That was top answer. So that they grouped that with baseball. So softball, baseball was the top answer at 40. And the second guess was ping pong ball.
I would see that as not being a bad answer.
Right. I would think golf ball definitely would get more points than ping pong ball. So I guarantee you like did better than this fellow. A wiffle ball. I mean, you said volleyball?
Yeah.
I suppose like the default color for a volleyball is white, but you could probably find them in any sort of color.
Right. Well, I mean, same with a golf ball. Same with a ping pong ball.
Yeah, but like, for example, like a basketball standard is not white. Like your standard basketball is that orangey brown color. I'm not sure what the actual color is called. And like a football is brown. So soccer ball is white and black.
Right.
Typically. Anyway, yeah. So they guessed ping pong ball, and I was hoping it was what I really heard when he said it, because he didn't say ping pong ball, he said ping ball, and I thought he said pink ball. I thought for the question, name a white ball, he said pink ball. I was hoping
great.
So much that was his answer.
I've heard worse answers. On Family Feud before.
Yeah. name an animal that kicks up his heels. The first person said horse.
Okay.
And the second person said giraffe.
All right. That one doesn't deserve a point at all.
No.
A giraffe.
So horse was top answer with 52 points.
Okay.
Giraffe. So ping pong ball, sadly, 0 points.
Right.
And giraffe, sadly, 0 points.
Right.
So this poor dude, he had to get 13 points and he got 5. He didn't even get half of what he needed.
Right. And that's the thing too, is when you come out, they tell you only need to get this many points, and then to just
I wonder what that would do to you mentally.
Yeah.
What do you think that would do? Would you think, oh, this is going to be easy? Or would you think, this is so much pressure, like if I screw this up, it's going to be so embarrassing?
It's hard to say, because right now I am not doing that great as far as some of the answers I'm coming up with, and just not coming up with answers in general.
And there's no real pressure on you. It's not like there's really, was it $25,000 or whatever, $20,000 on the line.
I think my brain just sucks.
You're also not in a studio in front of an audience and the host is there. You know, you're not. All those elements are out of the equation.
Yeah, I'm about as relaxed as I can be. Right.
I would hope. I do think that me personally, I think that I could easily go blank and just. The obvious stuff would not come to me.
Oh yeah, that's what's happening to me right now.
I would be struggling to come up with answers, I bet.
Yeah, it's easy to sit at home and be like, no problem. I would have said this. I would have said that.
Yeah, easy.
But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so this is the last set of Family Feud questions for Fast Money. This is the one I was saying was more like, how would you sort of rate your own situation? So it's not really an obvious answer, but cleanliness is next to godliness. On a scale of 1 to 10, how godly is your house? I think that's a weird way for them to ask, how clean is your house? Which is a really strange thing to say.
It's a really long way to ask it.
Yeah. Scale of 1 to 10, how godly is your house?
Scale of 7. Okay. 6. I'm not going to go
I guess
up.
I can't buzz you. I guess I can't buzz you on giving the same answer as the second person.
Right.
So you said 6. Give me a word that rhymes with dizzy.
Tizzy.
Name a place you see a lot of unhappy men.
At the mall. I don't want to be there.
Name something a guy might brag about to impress a date.
How much money he makes. His car.
Name something on a farm the farmer's wife might ride. Family show.
Damn it, because I was going to say the farmer.
All right, let's just put that down.
All right.
Steve would have loved that, Matt. Steve Harvey would have loved that answer. The farmer. Okay.
I mean, I'm not getting any points for it, but
you don't know that. This is what 100 other people said in a survey. I guarantee you there's at least one person that says farmer.
Probably. Especially nowadays with the show. The show is just like racy on purpose, it seems like.
Yeah. So the first answer that someone gave for how godly is your house was 7. That got 15 points. The second answer was 6, which is what you guessed, and that got 4 points. So far you're at 4 points.
So I'm assuming people were giving higher numbers because people lie. It's like, no, your house is not going to be 80 to 90% godly in that sense. Come on, people.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Unless you're Esther back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some people do keep a very tidy house. But a majority of the people, let's be honest, your house isn't 90 to 80% clean at all times.
Do you remember the thing that when I said to her about her glasses in her cupboard? So when I grew up in my house, when we put glasses away in the cupboard, we put them upside down. So that was normal to me. And so the reasoning, I guess, was just to prevent dust from getting in them.
Right.
At least I think either I was told that or that's just what I sort of deduced from or as a reason for doing it. And one time we were over. So this is our friend, Mark. And we used to go to his house all the time when he lived with his parents, and we'd hang out there all the time. And his parents are awesome, and so we loved hanging out with them and talking to them all the time too. But one time, she kept a very clean house. Her name's Esther, and she had all of her glasses put away in the cupboard and they were all right side up. And for some reason, I just felt the need to say something about it.
Right.
And I'm just like, usually you're supposed to keep your glasses in the cupboard upside down so dust doesn't get in them. And she goes, "There's no dust in this house." Like, oh. And I was kind of, in my mind, I remember thinking, okay, I mean, there's probably dust in here somewhere.
There's definitely dust. There's definitely dust. It's just not enough to accumulate.
Right. Anytime the front door is open and someone enters or exits the house, like something's getting kicked up or something's,
Well, most dust in your house is dry skin.
True. Yeah, so there has to be dust somewhere. People live in the house.
Just dander and
they had.
Yep.
People in that house had skin, from what I remember.
They did, yeah.
All of them had skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Whether or not it was dry, that would cause more flaking and dander. I'm not sure. Anyway, give me a word that rhymes with dizzy. You said tizzy.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. The first person guessed Lizzie, which I didn't think that would count as a word. Is Lizzie?
Yeah. I think it's more of a name.
Yeah, but that got 27 points.
All right. People are dumb. It's fine.
Lizzie, yeah. So you said tizzy, which is a word. So that would have, I'm guessing, garnered more than 0 points. So the next person guessed Nizzy with an N.
Like that was their first guess? Like they didn't get buzzed on Lizzie?
Nizzy.
They just went
yeah.
Nizzy
They didn't get
straight
buzzed
up.
on Lizzie.
So they just
no buzzing on Lizzie.
I mean,
they made up the word Nizzy.
I mean, Frizzy would have been better.
Number one answer, which here's where this one could trick you. Dizzy ends in ZZY.
Yeah.
So you're going to go there with your brain. What are the words that end in ZZY? The top answer was busy. BUSY. So
that's a good answer, actually.
I could see where anyone's mind would go to an IZZY word.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to think of IZZY word. I thought of frizzy or fizzy.
Yeah.
So
which probably also still would have been better than Nizzy.
Nizzy.
At least you could have gotten a point.
A point. So name a place you see a lot of unhappy men. The first person said bars, and that got 33 points.
Okay.
The next person, I think they might have said bars at first, but then they got buzzed, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, their final answer was sports game.
Sports game.
I mean, I can see that answer
if their team's doing bad.
If their team's not doing well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's any worse than me saying the mall.
Mall.
I'm just thinking of guys just that are just like looking like zombies following women around that are on shopping trips and they're just carrying all the bags.
I have a mall example that had I witnessed some unhappy men one time at a mall. This is before I had
I witnessed some unhappy men.
This is before I had a kid of my own, but I was at the Mall of America and all of a sudden I see this huge line of people for something. And I was by myself, single dude. I don't even know what I was doing there. I think I was just aimlessly shopping. And I just walked up to one of the guys in line. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And he goes, "It's Toddler Tuesday. Spider-Man is here." I'm like, oh. So this string of dudes with their kids all having to forced to go to Toddler Tuesday at the mall because their kid wants to see Spider-Man. And I'm like, well, good luck with that. And I just whistled my way away. I was all cheerful when I left. Now I of course have a son of my own and have taken him to things similar to that.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to Toddler Tuesday though.
Right. You ever went to the mall to visit obviously real Spider-Man?
Yeah, no.
Because Spider-Man's at this mall specifically today.
Right.
He's not out saving the world.
I mean, it's also like, going to visit Santa at the mall.
Right.
I get it because malls are, they were everywhere and they were easily accessible to a lot of people. So if there's a place you want to go to see Santa, it's indoors. But what a very unmagical, unenchanted looking type of place to go visit Santa is the mall.
Especially some of the malls out there that are just garbage. Which
that has to have been
most malls to me at this point, but
yeah. That had to have been devised by mall owners.
Oh, I'm
just
sure.
To get people to shop in the mall around Christmas time. Yeah. And in my opinion, that's the best thing about Christmas.
Is mall Santas?
The mall Santas. Anyway, let's get through this crap. Yeah. So sports game got 0 points for a place you see a lot of unhappy men. Name something a guy might brag about to impress a date. You said car after the money thing.
Yep.
So the first answer was how much money they have, and that got 47 points.
Right.
Second, their answer was muscles, which is not ridiculous, but it kind of is.
It's weird because it's like the date's that's something that's more obvious. Like you can see the person's muscles, most likely.
Exactly. I mean, the date, the other person on the date is
right.
It's very unlikely, unless they already know each other through work, is going to have any idea how much money they make. So that's something that the guy would be like, let me tell her about this. But the muscles should be just visibly obvious.
Right.
So then how do you brag about your muscles? Just like, hey, look at look at these muscles.
But you want to sit in this stool and you can lift it?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Stools aren't even heavy.
I know, but I'm trying to think of how you brag about your muscles. Like, I mean, obviously you have to like lift stuff. Unless you go to unless your first date is at a gym.
Hold on. Why would you lift a stool anyway?
I don't know.
Then they can't, until the stool is put down.
Maybe he's lifting her in the stool. Like she's already sitting on the stool and he lifts her up in the stool to show how strong he is.
And he still says, would you like to sit on this stool?
Well,
while lifting her up because she's already there.
He doesn't have to say it then. If he said it then it'd be more weird, yeah. Because then she would say then she would say, yes, your muscles are impressive, but your brain is dumb.
Yeah. My brain's a muscle. He probably wouldn't be smart enough to say that.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, so muscle answer got 3 points. I would venture to say the car gets more points than muscle.
I would hope so.
If he picked her up in that car, it'd be less of a thing to brag about because she already would have ridden in it. But anyway, maybe that's part of the date is the ride to wherever they're going, and he's bragging about the car on the way.
Right. And then he's also bragging about how much money he makes so he can afford such a car.
Right.
But then he can talk about how, and then he's like, you know how I do oil changes? I lift the car with my muscles.
Yeah.
Which is not good for when you're trying to do an oil change because then all the oil shifts to one side. It doesn't really actually all come out.
You want to know how I afford these muscles?
I have to set the car back down.
Yeah.
I paid for these muscles.
Last thing. Name something on a farm the farmer's wife might ride. The first person answered horse.
Okay.
Which got 36 points.
Okay. Tractor would be an okay answer.
I think tractor would have been probably the next runner-up if it wasn't the top answer. I don't remember what the top if horse was the top answer or not. So if it wasn't, I'd say tractor's probably second runner-up.
Right.
But this person said cow.
You know, when you go riding cows. I mean,
people don't ride cows, do they?
Not traditionally.
Cow got
not recreationally.
Cow got zero points.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm gonna say that at least one person would have tried to, they tried to be clever,
probably,
and would have said farmer. So I guarantee you would have got a better score on farmer than you would with cow. Mall, a car. I think you did better than muscles. Tizzy is better than Nizzy. You matched the answer of 4 for the first question. Mall for unhappy men.
Yeah.
Versus sports game. Well, sports game got 0.
I imagine mall probably wouldn't have gotten much either. Funeral would probably been a better answer.
Funeral. Yeah.
Maybe.
But it says a lot of unhappy men.
Right.
Maybe I guess they're implying at once.
Right.
So Liberace's funeral or something like that.
Just gonna distance myself from you for a moment.
Further than from Minneapolis to Chicago.
Yep.
Where are you going?
To the mall.
Oh, to cheer up. You're gonna go to the mall.
So,
that's what I got. I don't know.
I got a text message from Travis today.
Okay.
And he said, it's been about a year since I've gone to Elk River and I ran into somebody.
Oh.
So I said, who?
I hold on. I have a feeling I know who this is going to be.
You know exactly where this is going. I was so pissed. He said Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
Oh, really?
Is that not where you were thinking? That's what he did to me. I'm so upset. So
that is awesome.
For people who don't know, this came off of the What Say You podcast, which is Sal Volcano and Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers, which I don't believe that podcast is doing anything anymore. But it was fun for a while.
No, it's been dormant for a long time.
Yeah, but they had this game that they would do where they would basically say something along those lines of like, "Hey, you'll never guess who I ran into or whatever." Yep. Yeah. And if the person says who, then you say Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's. But you have to say the whole thing, or it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And you get a point.
I don't know.
And they accumulate it over time. Whoever gets the most points. But it's been years since we've done that to each other, since hearing it on that podcast. And I was not expecting that at all. And I'm so pissed.
I didn't know that you guys even did that.
We have not done that since probably right around the time that episode aired, which was 3, 4, 5 years ago. No, probably longer than that ago.
Yeah.
I think I was still living in Minnesota when that was happening.
The thing that bums me out a little bit about that whole thing is I remember at one of the very first episodes of that podcast, Sal seemed so perplexed of the idea of podcasts and people are just going to listen to us talk? What is this? How does this work? Who's going to listen to people talk? Like, he couldn't get his mind around it. Now he's on 2 podcasts regularly.
Right.
And What Say You is not a thing anymore. Like, that is not picked back up. But Sal is involved in 2 other podcasts that he's regularly on. Right. So I'm a little bummed that he's obviously much in favor of doing podcasts now.
Yeah, just
so
not.
I think it's a little bit sad that What Say You never came back into the.
Yeah, and it's not like those guys never see each other.
Right. I mean, maybe that's part of it. They see each other all the time.
Yeah.
The two podcasts that Sal is on is not with any member of the Impractical Jokers. So it's 2 other guys. So I can see that.
I think it's funny that he's perplexed by like, oh, people are just going to listen to us talk. It's like, Sal, you do stand up now.
Yeah.
People just listen to you talk.
Well, and this was all obviously before he was, to my knowledge, well before he was getting into stand-up. Because I don't know when he started that, but I don't even know how many seasons of Impractical Jokers there were when they started doing that podcast. So
I'd have to look up when What Say You podcast even started. I don't even remember, but
yeah, the show itself
I was bummed.
Might have been new enough where he's not even used to the idea of people being interested in listening to them. But they started off doing like stage shows as a way that they're trying to make a living and make it that way. So they've based ever since they've been doing that. They've been kind of riding on the idea that people would like just hearing them talk, I guess.
Right.
Are you looking up when What Say You pod started?
Yeah. So they did episode 74 posted on August 30th of 17, and then episode 75 was February 28th of 2020.
And those, I think, by then were just not even Q and Sal doing them. There was like these other, they called them like the JV squad or something.
So the last episode that they did is the description says it takes a movie to pull Sal and Q back to the podcast table.
Oh.
So they did it. So this is
talking about the Joker's movie.
Yeah, so we're looking at 2016, So yeah, I think the episode that we are talking about was definitely from before I moved.
Because what year did you move?
16. So I'm trying to go back to see when maybe that episode aired, but it was at least 14 or possibly 13 when that episode aired. So
the very first episode was September 30th, 2013.
Okay. So yeah, we're looking at 2013, 2014 of when we found out about that Dave Thomas game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so unexpected. It's almost at this point, it's like an 7 or 8 year old joke that we haven't even done in forever. So I never asked him where that came from, how that popped back into his head. But yeah.
The funny thing is, there were 2 people that I was thinking of I thought he was giving a real human, a real person answer that he would have bumped into. One is Andrea, and the other is Rob.
Okay, yeah, either of those would have been worse than Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
But
the Dave Thomas episode was February 25th of 14.
Oh, so it's 2021
it's a
now.
7-year-old. It's a 7-year-old joke that we know about, and however older for them, older.
Yeah,
you know how English works.
You and Travis have been doing it for at most 7 years.
But like I said,
I started doing it.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't thought of that in forever. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually thought of that. I think I tried to get him on that, like, maybe once after I moved here. I tried to get him on it, but he immediately called me out on it.
Oh, because you were in Chicago now, so you're like, hey, guess who I bumped into in where I live now? Kind of, it was an easy excuse to do it.
No, I don't remember how I tried to get him with it.
But either way, I bet you were just using the fact that you moved to Chicago.
Probably.
As like you could say,
hey, crazy, I totally ran into this person out here that I shouldn't have. But yeah, I don't remember how I tried to get it, but he immediately said, "Ooh, Dave Thomas founder of Wendy's." I'm like, son of a bitch, you got me. So then he gets the point because he called me out on it.
So do you have a point tally between the two of you?
Oh God, no. I don't remember at all. It would have reset by now anyways. I think it's like,
I don't, does it? Does it reset?
I think they would do it I think if I remember how they talked about it, they would do it like in a year, like whoever gets so many within a year's time span or something. So
otherwise it'll just go on forever.
Yeah. So but the thing is now if I want to try to get him back, I have to really wait it out and plan it and figure it out because he's going to be suspecting I'm going to try to do it to him now. Yeah. And it's not like we talk all the time or anything. So
that was a good move on his part to throw that completely randomly at you.
Yeah, he probably literally drove past a Wendy's and just thought of it and said, who could I get? And he chose me. He could have easily done it to you.
Well, he and I never did that.
Oh, but he could have easily got you on it because he knew about it. Yeah,
I knew about it, but I completely have forgotten about it until just now.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have. There's no way I would have said. There's no way I would have got him on it by just calling him out and saying Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's.
Oh yeah, no,
he would have got me 100%.
Wasn't expecting it at all. Like even if I would have thought about it, I would have been like, oh, I'll jokingly say this back to him, ha ha ha, knowing that he's really going to tell me like a real person. I would have never suspected that's what. You
would have accidentally gotten him.
Yeah, I would have accidentally guessed correctly in a joking manner. So yeah, anytime somebody's trying to goat you into saying who, be very careful.
Right, yeah, because everybody does this.
Yeah. Well,
watch out,
maybe
out, world.
People will start doing it now that we mentioned the game too. But we did not create the game, obviously. This is a little shout out to the Impractical Jokers crew who did that back in the day. But it was just kind of a funny thing we tried to do to each other for a little short period of time.
So I'll update everyone on. I have not. We still haven't gone ahead and gotten the review kit.
No, Yeah, I thought more about that. I'm like, so basically, what you have to do for that kit is you can request to get the kit, but you have to pay a discounted rate for the clippers, basically. So you pay whatever amount for that. Then they send you the kit. Then you do your review. Then they'll promote you, supposedly, is what they're saying. And what you get in the kit, you only get I think you get 4 things in the kit. You get the shaver that you pay for. You get
not full price.
Not full price, but yeah, you get basically it's I think they said it's $150 worth of stuff and you pay $30 for it or something.
Something like that.
So, roughly. But yeah, you get the clippers that you pay a discounted price for. You get the manicure set, which was the hedge trimmers, I think is what they were called.
Yeah.
You get the pube muncher, which is the little vacuum.
I was a little disappointed by.
Yeah, it's like a little vacuum cleaner thing to clean up all the pubes off your sink because you're dirty, messy fucking people when you trim yourself. You just let shit go everywhere. And then
so you don't run into another Elk River Perkins situation.
That you try to claim that was me and it wasn't me. Or at least you referred to it as being something I have done.
there's no way to confirm or deny that it was or was not you 100%. We just have to go off of your word.
Well, we're going off of your word of the fact that that you had witnessed me doing something like that before. Also, we're keeping this very vague on purpose.
You know what? You know what? I guess I didn't in that time claim that you did that at that location at that time.
Right.
I just said that here's
Either
what we saw,
somebody did this,
or this is what, or they did something that Matt tends to do, which there's no real evidence that you do those things.
Right.
And there would be a way to definitively prove whether or not you were guilty of that act at that Perkins bathroom, and that would be the color of the evidence compared to
well, even the color wouldn't prove it was me.
The color of your evidence.
The color of it would not have proved it was me. It would have just said, it would have just shown that it was, it would have ruled out some other suspects.
Well, the color could have ruled out you as a suspect.
Yeah, or not ruled me.
I'm assuming.
It could have either ruled or not ruled me out. Yeah. I don't know how deep into it you got.
Not that anyone knows what we're talking about. They might be assuming by now, but I guess I don't even know that for sure because I only know you from here,
from neck up.
from
like, as far as I know, you don't even have anything below your neck. I've never once looked below your neck.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We may or may not go ahead with that, but I did watch the video. The video that's like, here's how you. Yeah,
that's where I got my information from.
Is the video awesome though?
Yeah, I mean it's fine. But it was funny because I was at Target. I was at Target yesterday and I saw all the Manscaped stuff displays there. I'm like, I could just get this here now if I wanted it. I wouldn't have to go through all this BS with shave my balls.
Well, I mean, so like for me, getting the stuff wouldn't be the ultimate goal of it. Wouldn't be to have the product. It would be to have the story of it where it's a funny sounding company name. The video that describes the products and how to get the review kit is cool and interesting. And they seem to have a sense of humor about themselves.
Right.
And it would just be, we could say that we have a promo code for people to use if they want to use our promo code to order this product. So it's more that I don't care about I have the same set of hair clippers that I've had for years.
Right.
And whenever I would have a beard and I would trim my beard, like the shortest little clip-on attachment for it.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I like dropped it and like a little edge of it like broke off, and so I still use that thing, avoiding that part of the attachment so I don't cut that hair on my face too short. Like I'm clearly not caring about my hair care, my hair management products. So I'm not. It's not that I'm in the market for a new hair trimmer,
right?
Because I'm using the same piece of junk I already broke. Also, this has two clipper things that you attach on. One is like for your hair, like to trim your hair on your head, and one it's like the wider one, and then one's a narrower one, which is for like facial hair, I assume.
Right.
So I know that the one for the actual wide hair one, the two like some plastic pieces that are behind it that clip into the actual handle piece of the device, those are like bent and broken. So if I went through a few year period where I was cutting my own hair, I wasn't going in to get haircuts, and so that could get kind of awkward if you're trying to get the back of your head through two mirrors set up so you can see yourself cutting your hair.
Right.
So I've dropped that a few times doing that, and so that will, if I'm using it, it'll just pop out in the middle of me using it sometimes.
Right.
And, this whole thing is right now I'm not sporting a beard and I'm going in to get my haircuts. I'm going in to get my haircuts. So it's not something that I'm even thinking about, but if I did ever do something again, I really should just pony up the $60 or whatever it is and get myself a new set of hair clippers, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it sounds like you could use this promo kit more than I could. Well,
like I said, again, if I'm deciding to cut my own hair again, you seem like you're someone who... do you cut your own hair?
Yep, 100% of the time.
Yeah, so...
But I have
out of the two
a
of
really
us,
good set of clippers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's...
I have the nice wall... Yeah, I have the nice wall brand kit. with all the attachments and everything. And then I also have a separate facial trimmer as well.
See, I think, that's what mine is. Mine wasn't trying to be a separate facial trimmer. It was like just detach the hair trimmer part and attach on the facial hair trimmer part. So you have it just one thing.
No, I have 2 separate clippers.
Yeah, mine's in bad shape. So I suppose you're right. If out of the 2 of us, if one of us was going to be in more need of a new system, it's probably me.
Mm-hmm.
So
gotta smooth those balls, Sean.
Gotta. I mean, they're not going to smooth themselves.
That's true. Unless, like, you just let ocean waves hit them for a long time. But then they're still not smoothing themselves. Technically, the water's doing it.
Of all the processes by which one could remove hair, you decide to go with ocean waves?
Yeah, it takes a while, but it will probably work.
How gnarly do these ocean waves have to be before I consider it to be too dangerous?
Well, no, I mean, erosion will happen over time no matter how gnarly the waves are.
True.
It's just how fast versus how slow.
Okay, if my method that I'm shooting for is via erosion, hair is not giving myself 100% protection, so I would assume that other parts would suffer erosion at the same time as the hair might suffer erosion. So I don't think that's the way I'm going to go about it.
So when you said smooth, when I was saying like smooth your balls, I wasn't necessarily just thinking getting rid of the hair. I'm just saying making them smooth in general. So taking
isn't that what this whole thing is about?
There's a lot of things going on.
Okay, we spent the last 15 or so minutes talking about hair trimming and this product that trims hair, and you're going to say when you refer to smoothing my balls, you're not necessarily talking about trimming hair?
I'm just talking about making them super smooth. Like, we think of like how a rock gets smooth when ocean waves hit it over a long period of time.
Oh, that's where you're going.
That's where my brain was going.
You want to make my balls very skippable.
I wasn't saying like flatten them out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tumble them?
A round stone does not skip well.
That's true. Bye, everyone.
Why not?
Are we done?
No better time than way before this.
Yeah. Bye.
Later.
If you like us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as HSFamousPod. Email us at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. If you really love us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/highschoolfamous. Remember, we love you and want to have your babies.